Ryan Reynolds could spend over $5,000 every single day for the next 50 years and he still wouldn't be broke. Our beloved Hollywood heartthrob is mega rich. But it wasn't always fast cars, giant mansions, and luxury vacations around the world. Nope. Before this potty-mouthed actor got his big break, he was barely making enough to make ends meet. Clearly, he's come full circle since then. Not only is Ryan one half of our favorite Tinseltown couple, but he's also a business owner, producer, car collector, and big spender. So how'd this Canadian superhero get to where he is today? And more importantly, how does he spend all that extra crisp cash? Let's find out. $150. That's how much our beloved funny man made per episode in his first on-screen appearances. Those were the days of baby-faced Ryan on the Nickelodeon show 15. Fast forward to today, and it's another world entirely. Now, Ryan doesn't get out of bed for a measly $150. In 2019 alone, he raked in over $27 million, a monumental step up from his days on kids' TV. But what happened during all that time in between? What transformed Hollywood's favorite Ryan from teeny bopper actor to world-famous superhero who's been named Man of the Year, Entertainer of the Year, and Sexiest Man Alive? It all started with 15 in 1991. His performances caught the attention of a few higher-ups, and just 2 years later, he landed his feature film debut. Far from his now infamous Deadpool persona, Ryan's debut appearance in Ordinary Magic saw him play an orphan raised in India, who then moved to Canada on a hunger strike. Not quite the lippy, foul-mouthed prankster we've come to know. Over the next few years, he landed roles in The X-Files, The Amityville Horror, Smokin' Aces, The Proposal, and the hilarious Van Wilder, which grossed $38.3 million at the box office. At this point, our dear Canadian boy had made it to the big leagues. Ryan's checks were already hefty, but his next big break changed everything. That break, of course, was the ever-popular world of on-screen comics. First came Green Lantern, in which he starred alongside, guess who? Blake Lively. But we all seem to forget his role as the DC superhero when he took center stage in, yep, you know what's coming next, Deadpool. Thanks to the 2 Deadpool films, plus some in-between movies and his handful of businesses, this Hollywood actor is now worth a sizzling $100 million. But as fast as the money rains in, it pours out, thanks to big-ticket items and a long list of luxe purchases. Case in point, the production of Deadpool. A huge chunk of Ryan's income went into producing the now-beloved series. In fact, he was actually trying to get Deadpool made for 11 years. Out of fear for the movie's failure, Fox slashed budgets. They wouldn't pay the screenwriters to be on set, so Ryan Reynolds paid out of his own pocket to ensure the film's best chance of success. Ultimately, his financial backing proved a masterstroke. The first Deadpool film made over $780 million, off a budget of only $58 million, officially the most ever for an R-rated film at the time. Any guesses on how much our profanity-spitting actor pocketed himself? $2 million, which ultimately wasn't very high compared to the film's enormous success. However, he reportedly raked in several million more in hefty bonuses after the movie smashed box office records, not to mention the colossal $27 million he made from the Michael Bay film Six Underground. So, now that we've got a decent understanding of this Hollywood heavyweight's rise to fame, let's get to the good stuff. How the heck does he spend it all? Fast cars? Giant castles? Big old private planes? Yes, and yes. But it's not entirely splurging for Mr. Reynolds. He's a big fan of reinvesting. In fact, the actor managed to show off his businessman prowess rather successfully over the past few years. As most of the world's 1% know, you've got to spend money to make money. And it's no different with Deadpool himself. Back in 2018, Ryan paid a mysteriously undisclosed amount to acquire a minority stake in his very own liquor business, Aviation Gin. Why he was so keen on this gin specifically? Well, besides the fact that Ryan saw it as a smart investment, in his own words, it's the best gin on the planet. While it's never been revealed how much money he put into the business, we do know that he managed to sell Aviation Gin to drinks giant Diageo back in August of 2020. All up, the deal was worth $610 million. So even if Ryan's stake was only 10%, he'd still be $61 million better off. Alcohol isn't the only space this actor likes to invest. Unconventionally, he also threw a chunk of money at a discount prepaid cell phone service provider called Mint Mobile. We don't know the details of this deal, much like Aviation. The numbers were kept hush-hush. But Reynolds did reveal that he had purchased a large interest, reportedly more than 25%. Adding to the money pile, Ryan also effectively gave away $5 million for a Super Bowl promo. But not quite in the way you'd expect. While other companies were paying $5 million for a 30-second ad, the actor took a different different approach. He bought a full-page ad in the New York Times and offered $5 million worth of free services for anyone who signed up between kickoff and final whistle. That's 300,000 months worth of free internet. Just when you thought it couldn't get more obscure, to complete the trio of the three most unrelated and unusual investments for an actor, Rayn was also considering buying, ready for this, a soccer team. Not a squad based in LA or New York, where he lives, or even Vancouver, where he grew up. Of all clubs and of all places, Reynolds wants to buy Wrexham AFC, a team based in Wales that holds the title of the third oldest professional soccer team in the world. But he's not going in alone. The proposed $2.5 million takeover is in conjunction with fellow Tinseltown personality Rob McElhenney. Seriously, Ryan, what's going on in that head of yours? If you wanted to show off your absurd bank balance, you could simply have directed us to your overstuffed garage, packed with more expensive cars and bikes than most of us could ever imagine. While he doesn't quite sport the Hell's Angel persona, Ryan is actually a massive bike enthusiast. Rich and cool. Is anyone else getting slightly jealous? The Vancouverites' pride and joy is this beast, the Triumph Tiger. Even though these go for some $15,000, it's not his most expensive toy. That title goes to his Ducati SC1000. When new, these sleek retro wheels sold for about $10,000. But since production halted, their value has climbed substantially. Now, a good condition secondhand SC1000 can surpass $25,000. He also owns a 1975 Honda CB750 worth over $4,000 and a Ducati GT1000, which goes for $10,000. Then, rounding out the collection is the vintage 1964 Triumph 650 Bonneville, which usually sells for about $15,000. Although this was rebuilt specifically for Ryan. From 2 wheels, let's hop over to 4. For typical errands, Ryan cruises around in a $64,000 2011 Cadillac Escalade. However, he actually became a spokesperson for Nissan back in 2012, and since then has often been seen zipping around in a $31,000 Nissan Leaf. Even before his Leaf days, Ryan had an eco-friendly mindset, often cruising around in a 2011 Toyota Prius. It's fair to say, overall, Ryan leans more toward the economical cars. However, that doesn't mean he steers entirely clear of luxury. At various stages over the last few years, our favorite Hollywood hunk and his better half have been spotted behind the wheel of a $400,000 Lamborghini Aventador, $70,000 Lexus SC430, and a $30,000 Dodge Challenger SRT. While the Lexus and this Mini Cooper convertible technically belong to Blake Lively, sharing is caring when you're a married couple. Where does he keep all these wheels? In his giant houses, of course. Despite being a Hollywood household name and a Canadian at heart, it's actually upstate New York that Ryan now calls home. About an hour's drive from Manhattan, this house, scratch that castle, covers 4,753 square feet and boasts 1.8 acres of land, its very own 2-bedroom guest suite, and a stunning view overlooking the sparkling waters of Pound Ridge. What's the damage for a place like this? A cool $2.35 million. Before moving out east, and for that matter, before tying the knot with Blake, Ryan had bought this sprawling mansion, the famous Wong House out in Los Feliz, just next to Hollywood. The beautiful home featured its own saltwater pool, solar panels, and truly unrivaled views of the LA basin. Back then, he forked out $2 million, but that was amidst the Scarlett Johansson era. So it's not exactly a surprise to hear that he offloaded the property when everything turned sour, although still managed to make a tidy $500,000 profit. When our dear Deadpool isn't shooting a new blockbuster film or tearing up the streets on a 2-wheeler, he's traveling the world in ultimate style, spending tens of thousands in the process. And while he has been spotted on commercial planes, Ryan and Blake have also, at times, chosen to fly private, and that ain't cheap. Private jets cost anywhere between $1,200 and $10,000 per billable flight hour. Nevertheless, they got the cash to make it happen, and they've used that cash to visit places like Vancouver, Barcelona, Abu Dhabi, Paris, London, Hawaii, and Cabo St. Lucas, just to name a few. Of course, luxury doesn't solely come in the form of vacationing. It also comes in the form of uber-expensive, mega-shiny, totally out-of-our-price range jewelry. Not for him, but for his lovely ladies. Reynolds bought an expensive beluga watch for Melissa Joan Hart back in the day, worth up to $5,000. From there, the accessories got sparklier and wads of cash got thicker. He spent $950 on this gift for Blake Lively, 14-karat gold that simply says, Mrs. R. then $1,700 on this 18-karat rose gold diamond set of Cupid's arrow-like earrings. Still, none of these cutesy gifts compare to the almighty engagement ring that he put on Blake Lively's finger. Inflated by the 12-karat diamond, it's estimated that Rayn spent a totally insane $2 million. He just loves to spoil Blake rotten. One time he even smuggled apple pie across the border, risking thousands of dollars in fines, all for Blake. In the fashion department, it's obvious that Rayn likes to spend all kinds of bling for his better half, but that's not to say that he overlooks his own attire by any stretch. With a love for custom black and blue tuxedos, three-piece suits, and fresh haircuts, all up, Rayn's easily spent tens of thousands of dollars on his own appearance. What's the first thing you'd buy if, like Rayn, you had $100 million in the bank? Let us know in the comments down below. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to The Richest, and have a great day. Catch you next time.